We are sort of the pioneers of what fatherhood looks like in this digital space. The lines in our generation have completely gotten blurred between work life and home life. You're always supposed to be on. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick, pleasure to see you, my friend.
Great to see you.
Welcome to the No Days Off Pod by Dad Season. Welcome back, where we are building a community of absolutely unstoppable dads, moms, parents, everyone. Unstoppable humans. That's what we're doing.
Being open and honest about it.
That's it. How you doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Doing great. Back to running, which is awesome.
Body's feeling good?
It's sore. Getting back to running. Last week was a big training week. We talked about just recovering from a partial MCL tear and started running a lot quicker than I thought, which is great. PT's been good, and still might have a chance to do the challenge of the half marathon coming up in a few weeks. But, we have a couple activities before that, there's a party or something. So we were just talking about if I'd even be able to, but it'd be a good challenge. We'll see how the knee's doing closer to it, but it's mentally it's been nice getting back to training and running and just doing something challenging each day, and getting my mind right for when the kids are at home and corralling them. How about you? How's the training for the fight going?
We're getting there. What are we, 5 weeks out? Yeah. This Saturday I'll be 5 weeks. It's going good. Just trying to stack bricks. Slowly but surely, improving every day.
That's it.
We're trying.
I always think, because even today, when I was on my run, it was a easy 3 mile. Now I've done something like every day for like 2 weeks now, just because I get restless, and I'm like, once my knee got stable enough, I just started walking on a tread, incline, biking, all that stuff, running now. And this morning when I went out from my run early, it was just a 30-minute chill run, but man, my body felt just like it was just so sore, so heavy, because you training constantly. And I always think about the hockey stick thing that you said is, just keep going, and eventually there's a breakthrough. And it could have been easy when I was out on the run and not feeling great. You know what? I'll hang it up today. Maybe I just walk it in. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just take the next step. I'm gonna finish this out. It's 30 minutes. Listen to something impactful through my headphones, and before you know it, went a little over 30, because I wanted to at least get my pace was like 10. It wasn't fast. My body was not moving. It was like 10:26, but I was like, I'm going to get to 3 miles, and I'm glad I did it. And then hopefully get a strength session in later, time permitting, with the kiddos from school and everything. But I just always think about the hockey stick. And for people that don't know that, John and I were talking, and I don't know if it was on an episode or just a great conversation we were having. And, it's even like building a brand, doing something hard, whatever it may be. A hockey stick is flat, flat, flat. And a lot of people give up right before the curve. Yep. And the curve is where the breakthrough happens. And breakthrough comes from doing difficult things, overcoming them, keep pushing through, doubts, fears, all these things come through. You conquer them and you keep going. And then there's also some great experiences. Like there's some days where, I think of running, because that's sort of where I'm at right now, just trying to do something that I didn't do throughout my career. Is, there are days where the legs are fresh and you go out there and all of a sudden you look at your pace. I'm like, man, I'm like in the low 9s right now. And I feel like I'm running the same intensity as I was at a 10:30 pace. And it's just, that breakthrough happens. You just got to keep going.
That's right. And look at where you are post-injury. 3 weeks?
3 weeks from a partial grade 2, grade 3 MCL tear. And that's with an MRI. That's with doctor checking. And I'm just very fortunate. And I know my body really well. There's probably people that are listening like, that's too early. You're risking it.
Yeah.
You know what? I really have a good gauge on my body. I have a great PT guy. I know when to challenge it. I know if something's hurting, how to back off. And that's just from being around sports for a long time. Yeah. I do like pushing the envelope, but not in a dumb way. I want my knee to be good for the rest of my life, but I also don't like it sitting still. I don't like it being stiff, because then the rehab. I remember when I was a kid and I broke my hand as a freshman in high school. I had it casted, and there's rehab from it because your hand doesn't move for a long time. And then I broke my hand several other times playing football, and I just kept it moving, and it was a hairline fracture, and it just healed back, and it was ready to go. So there's something to it, but you got to be smart, listen to your doctors, and my doctor's been great with everything. And it's exciting to be ahead of schedule, but still being smart,
Right.
not being dumb. But it's nice to get out there and get moving. And maybe I thought I wasn't going to be able to try at the half, and it's still to be determined, but now there's a chance. So it's pretty cool. So I'm thankful to the Lord for allowing me to do it, and it's good for me mentally.
Absolutely. I love it. So today we're talking modern fatherhood in a world full of distractions.
Yeah.
And tech being one of those massive distractions, one of the things that we embrace massively for our work, but one of those things that can also get in the way when it comes to being an engaged father. So one of the reasons, if I could just open with a story, one of the reasons I was kind of pushing this episode is because it's actually something that I also need help with. So the other day I was playing with my kids and I was just, I was there physically, but I wasn't there mentally. I was just doom scrolling on my phone.
Yeah.
And it was after a long day at work, and at work, I'm like super responsive. I try to be. If an email comes in, I respond. If a text comes in from our partners, from our client, I respond. Me and Roddy, we're engaging. If he's gone, we're on the phone. And sometimes it's hard to shut that off. I remember pre-kids, like I was that guy that was always like sending emails, like email on a Sunday night, like, hey, this is how the week's going to look to clients and whatnot. And now I think if I got an email on a Sunday night, like I would be so annoyed. But anyway, so, there I was with Jack and Romy. We're in the playroom and I'm just doom scrolling, and Jack walks over and he just grabs my phone out of my hand and he goes and he just puts it on the bookshelf. Didn't say anything, just did that. And for some reason that just like sent me like spiraling. I was thinking about it all night and I was like, man, like, there's this saying that in 20 years, the only people that will remember that you worked late are your kids or your wife.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what's it all for? But it's in this day of like so many distractions, it's hard, and we're more connected than ever, right? That's like the saying, technology makes us more connected than ever. Like I can DM somebody in wherever, South Korea right now, and we could have a conversation. But also at the same time, it makes you completely disconnected from the people that are closest to you.
Yeah.
And it's so there's another saying actually, that technology is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master.
Yeah. Heard that.
And I don't know, I just wonder for you as a father, like, what do you think about technology? How do you navigate it in your daily life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a total tech geek. If anyone truly knows me, that's why this podcast is fun. You get to see a different side of our personalities. Most of the time, people have seen me in, post-game interview or pre-game interview or what it may be. But total tech geek. I like to utilize technology and geek out. That's why, I'm using Android right now. I've used Apple, iOS, and all these different things. So I do piss off everyone because of the green bubbles, and I deal with it. And if you don't like it, I just take myself off the thread. It's less messages I have to deal with, so I don't mind it. I agree with everything you just said. And you know what? We're not masters at it. I think, too, through this podcast is getting people who've really written books and are scholars on it would be the next step for us, is having someone on, having those discussions. Because I've definitely listened to, like, was it The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry? There's some other tech books. You read it and you listen, and you're like, man, those are great principles. Putting your phone away, checking your, when you said your emails, I'm the same way, man. I don't know why I check my emails all the time. It's building a brand. You don't want to miss them, but it's like, it's an email. I know when I send an email, I'm not expecting a response for, it's not a text message. So if you send an email, like, give it at least 48 hours. It's going to be a couple of days. And if you send it like on a Friday, wait till probably Monday or Tuesday. Like,
sure.
It's one of those things. But I feel like with emails nowadays, everyone's like, I want a response right now. And I'm probably guilty of it as well. But then I'm like, it's an email. Like, I'm not going to respond for a few days, because I wish I had better guidelines on it, where I think a great principle is like, check it at 10 a.m., check it right before the end of the workday, and you're done. Like 2 times a day, knock it all out, spend 30 minutes going through it, setting like a plan and moving forward. But I think, when you mentioned that about Jack, we've had the same thing with Lily, where she'll say something about us being on our phones, like scrolling or whatever it may be. And it's more just an outlet that people use throughout a crazy day, parents or individuals, where it's just like sort of mind numbing. And I think about it all the time when I'm doing stuff like that. I'm like, well, I'm not gaining anything from scrolling for sure. Maybe losing brain cells. Maybe there's something funny or interesting. I mean, I could have just, say the kids aren't around, I could have just picked up a book and started reading a book, or I have a Kindle. Like last night before my wife and I went on a date, I was like, I'm just going to pick up my Kindle and read for 15 minutes instead of scrolling.
Yeah.
And my mind was in such a better place, and I actually got something out of it. But that's where I think the struggle lies, is we aren't perfect, right? We struggle with the same thing. I think you can, we'll talk about how we utilize technology within our household, with our kids, where we want to be better at. I think this will be a fun episode because we aren't pros at it, but there are things that we do implement. And, even sharing that story about Jack, like, that's super impactful.
Yeah. No, I think we're like pioneers in this new era of, I also want to like give it up to dads these days. I feel like our generation of fathers are way more engaged than fathers have been like previously. I'm lucky that I have a dad who's like super engaged, tells me he loves me and all that, but like there's all these memes where it's like, yeah, sure, maybe our generation doesn't get a lot of things right, but at least we look our kids in the eyes and tell them we love them. Like dads these days are more empathetic, more vulnerable. I think like millennial dads are cool, and I think it's only going to continue getting better. But we are sort of the pioneers of what fatherhood looks like in this digital space, and I think there is actually a lot of perks to it too.
Yeah. So
it's just all about finding balance. Like the lines in our generation have completely gotten blurred between work life and home life. Like there's just, you're always supposed to be on. We got our phones in our pockets. Why can't we just respond to the email if the client writes us at like 10 p.m. or something? Yeah. So it is about drawing strict boundaries. But I know also when Jack started watching Miss Rachel, man, his vocabulary just exploded.
Yeah.
So it's really just about figuring it out. And I hear you on having experts on. We definitely need to have like Jonathan Haidt, Anxious Generation. That book totally blew my mind.
I have that on my list to read on my Kindle. I just got to put down my phone and not scroll. And,
yeah. But sometimes you just need that escape. Right? Like when you're with the kids all day, and you need an outlet, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to look at some stupid memes right now and then get back to it.
And there are some funny stuff. We went on a trip with the kids and a couple of families a couple months ago, and I didn't bring my tablet. All I brought was, I had just gotten the new, I think it's the Kindle Scribe. It's like a bigger Kindle. I like writing notes. I like books, but traveling with books and stuff, because my backpack for travel, I also put like Duke's stuff in it, so he has all his stuff, and so the space isn't ample. But I had enough room for the Kindle, and I actually was reading an awesome book during that trip. And every time like the kids were chilling or they were playing and like everyone was just hanging out, like I would just start reading. And it was sort of funny because it was like, oh, Nick's reading again. But it was actually nice. It was once you start reading, you just get like 5 minutes into it, your brain sort of gets lost in it and you get something out of it. So reading's awesome. I think Kindles are great. It's harder for me to read on a tablet because I feel like there's so many distractions. Kindle, I know when I pick up a Kindle that I'm reading. I pick up a tablet, I can start reading. I'm like, I can also listen to watch a cool YouTube video too and get sort of a similar effect, but it is different. But like you said about Miss Rachel, same with our kids. I think the challenge that everyone talks about is like screen time, right? And yeah, there's a lot of screens. There's a lot of technology. In our house right now, we're using the new Alexa Echo Show that Amazon just came out with. I have a friend there, Panos, who is a part of the team. He was at Microsoft. He leads it, and I'm testing it out. And it's a great product. It's awesome, the kids. But it's funny how the other day, like they wanted to listen to a song, or they asked Alexa all these funny things, and Lily's like, "Hey Siri, hey Google." Hey Alexa. There's so many. And as I say, "Hey Google," my tablet right now is going off.
But the kids figure it out so fast.
Oh, and it made me laugh because there's so many different ways now to talk to technology, and the kids are like using it and then dancing and using the music, but then they start asking all these crazy questions about the Easter Bunny and all these different things, and then they're talking over each other. It's like, all right, Alexa, just don't listen to the kids. I wish there was like don't listen to their voices right now, or shut it off. But there is a time, and I think where we could be better is figuring out that screen time. I know we struggle with that. With our kids, I just want them watching something that can impact them. And I know it's silly, and people have to be like, wait, that's what's impacting. Our kids love watching like Amazing Spidey and Friends. And I know your father-in-law likes watching it too.
It's a great show.
Yeah, I sit down and watch it with them. And I just go back to when I was a kid, where I don't think parents really talked about screen time or the TV. Yeah. And my favorite thing was coming home from school, I would watch Power Rangers.
Yep.
Like I would watch Scooby-Doo. I would watch Batman. I would watch all these superheroes. And when our kids are watching it, I always remind them it's fun. It's all these superheroes. I'm like, but remember, they're doing what they do to then serve and protect other people. So just remember that. And to me, that's something very positive. It's like you can be a modern day superhero by what you do and how you treat people and how you act and how you help people. So when they're watching these things, I just want to be as silly as it might be being Amazing Spidey and Friends. I remind them, like, you want to be the superheroes. Like, that's who you want to be, the ones who are serving, the ones who are helping. And they're not really taking the credit because they're hiding their face because they just want to serve their community and do that. So like when they come home from school, they can have a snack and watch it for a little bit, but then we always want to get them outside. Even if Tori and I are exhausted, where we live in California, a lot of times it's in the alley, where there's cars going. So we're out there with them playing, whether it's on scooters, whether it's going on like a family walk where they're scootering, Henry's walking with us, our dog. Duke loves hitting little wiffle balls in the alley. I mean, you live in the same area as I do, so alley is probably the place.
Yep.
There's not a ton of fields everywhere, but just getting them outside so they're not always on a screen. But when they are, I try to sit there with them. I do enjoy the Disney movies, and kids are crushing Coco and Moana 2 right now.
Jackson and Moana 2. It's a banger.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really Bodie calls it Baby because the baby sister in it. And he's like, I want to watch Baby. It's like, all right, only for a little bit, but then we're going to go do something active.
The baby sister's awesome.
Yeah.
For Jack, that's Romy, comes running out as soon as she gets there.
Yep.
That opening song, man. Yeah, I mean, so we're navigating this there is so much content out there and it's so overstimulating. And even as a parent, we've talked about this before. The second you open Instagram, there's somebody telling you something that you kind of feel like you're doing wrong, and you can internalize that and all this. But the fundamental needs of a child remain unchanged, right? As always, like security, presence. They want guidance. They need love. They want rules, right? Kids thrive under like some good rules. And, we've talked about this. Children spell love Time, and I think we've lost, and I don't know if we've lost it, but I try to remind myself, there's nothing wrong with not being stimulated in that moment. We could just be bored together. Like we could go outside and just figure out something to do. We don't need screens telling us. We don't need entertainment all the time. And I think what I love about this episode is that neither of us really know. We're just kind of like talking and figuring it out together because these are like modern challenges, like Jack, they do what you do, right? This is another thing we say all the time. They don't do what you say, they'll do what you do. So when I'm on my phone, Jack all of a sudden wants to be on the phone, and we can use the phone to build connection. Like I can show him pictures of his cousins, I can show him pictures of this stuff, and he loves that. He'll sit there for a long time just scrolling and looking at pictures of the people he loves the most. But at the same time, like, you want to get him outside. That's the key, right? Always the key.
No, I think talking about positive technology is, the FaceTime and the photos. So, my family's all in Texas. I grew up in Austin. My family's still all in Austin. And so every now and then when we FaceTime Mimi and Papa, I want the kids to see them, and because they only get to see them a few times a year. And it's a great way to utilize technology. Like you said, Lily sees us on our phones and she can see that we FaceTime stuff. So she really loves FaceTiming her cousins who live here. That she goes to school with. So like she's even taken like Tori's phone and like FaceTimed her cousins and has fun with that. So it's a positive way for utilizing connection. But a question for you, how can fathers stay connected to their children? Like how do you do that? Like you mentioned going outside, like what are some applicable activities that you do apart from technology?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and Roddy knows this too. For the weekends, I try to not even be on my phone. Like when I won't even take it so that there's no temptation there. And I find that I'm just so much more engaged. I'm running around. When it's in my pocket, I just want to look at it, and Danielle's like, why are you on your phone? I'm like, I have access to all the information that has ever existed in human. Like I'll have the randomest thing that'll come to me like, oh, who invented the fire engine? Oh, I want to look that up, like, why? I don't need to know that, but now I'm curious, and then I start playing with ChatGPT. I'm like, how far can we push this thing? Write me a business plan for a company that does this. And it's like, why? You're at the park. Why? So the thing that I do is just basically like a clean break, like what does an addict do when, not that I'm a phone addict, but man, maybe I am,
all of us really are.
Right.
I mean, these things are so powerful, and especially with AI in them now, I mean, I utilize it in the morning. Like I have the calendar for our family and what we do. But like first thing in the morning when I'm doing my Bible study and devotionals, like after I do that, I'll sort of build out through whatever, within my Samsung devices, it's Gemini, which is a great AI. And I'll just be like, hey, this is my schedule for today. This is what I want to fit in there. Like I want to get my run in. I want to get my lift in. I want to do this, and this for dad season. Hey, we have a podcast. We need to do this. Hey, can you find some times within the schedule that's already set in my calendar to do that? And then sure enough, like boom, it just pops up. And
so epic.
It's so nice. It just sort of gives me a blueprint for the day to follow, which very seldom does it happen that way, but it's nice to have it. But once again, when you see a fire engine, you want to know who created it. Like all you got to do is ask your AI, and hopefully it's accurate, but it's just so tempting. It's just right here. I mean, you can even plug these things up to like a monitor and run it as a computer. Yeah. Which is insane.
Yeah. I guess ChatGPT's been having this thing that they call like it hallucinates, where it'll just give like the complete wrong answer, just like out of nowhere. Like most of the times it's right, but it has like a hallucination. Really? Yeah. So yeah, you definitely always want to fact check it. Like who did invent the fire engine?
Yeah, there is a small little thing at the bottom of all the AIs is like, make sure you always fact. What am I actually going to fact check it with? Like this, y'all are using all the resources, and now I got to go back to Google, and then I got to go through all these things. But
ChatGPT was trained on. Have you heard about like the copyright infringement issues? OpenAI just used tons of copywritten material to train their large language model. And now they're trying to make that illegal. And their argument is like, if we make that illegal, then we're definitely going to lose to China in the AI race. And that's like a huge deal because they don't care about copyright infringement. So that's an interesting thing, tracking the AI of it all. Yeah. So you want to fact check it.
No, even when I like AI's everywhere, even when I went and got an MRI, I walked in there and usually they're like 30, 45 minutes. And I'm like, how long is this going to take? Just because I'm curious, because I don't think anyone really enjoys getting an MRI. If you do, I've never met you. And they're like 15 minutes. I'm like, 15 minutes? Is this a new machine? They're like, no, we have AI in it now. And I saw just AI's picking up everything. It's like, yeah, AI sped it up, and it's just a software update. And so there are some amazing things it's doing.
Oh, totally.
And it's going to be interesting, too, as our kids grow. Like, AI is going to be a big part. Like, for us, the iPhone came out when I was in high school, when you were probably in college, and that sort of changed everything. Right?
When the dinosaurs were roaming. Rod, can you pull up that video of the robot with the camera? Yeah. Dude, that is epic. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I was in college. You were in high school.
we just told our listeners who's younger, who's older.
Hey, I'm aging gracefully, baby.
Yeah, your hair still looks fantastic. So
appreciate that.
Great. A lot of people right now are jealous of your hair.
Man,
it's a good hair.
I was close. I was telling Roddy, I was like, I think I'm cutting it. I think I'm gonna cut it.
It's probably you and Bodie can go cut it at the same time.
Dude, Bodie's is looking good.
Yeah, we're letting Bodie's grow out a little bit. He's got the mullet.
Look at this guy. Oh yeah, you've seen these guys, right?
Wow.
Dude, this guy.
No way.
That's our new camera operator.
Shoot, we're just going to have them sit in for us and do the whole podcast themselves.
Totally, in our voice.
Yeah, it'd be probably more insightful.
They also have new voice modulators that can take the accent out of any voice, so you won't know if you're getting like a call from a call center in Pakistan or something. Like so what world are our kids going to grow into? Like it's so crazy. And, we thought that AI, Roddy and I talk about this all the time, we thought that AI was going to come for the blue collar jobs, but like the first jobs that it's really taking away are, maybe not the first, but it's really coming for the creatives.
Yeah, I've even seen with like the marketing and everything.
Yeah. Designers.
Like ChatGPT, you can throw like your product in there, and then all of a sudden there's all these lifestyle shots.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been messing with it with some dad season just because we're a small business, and if we can have our products and more lifestyle shots, it's huge just so people can see it out in the world.
Yeah.
That's what's also great about doing the podcast is we can wear the gear that we love. It's around the set. It looks great, and people can see it more in a real setting as opposed to online in a picture. But now you can take it and actually put it in a lifestyle. I mean, that's going to be,
dude, that's huge.
From people doing marketing. I mean, that's their living. And now you can just do it through ChatGPT.
Yeah. Photographers? Yeah. No need. Yeah. I mean, the new products you guys are dropping are very quality. Are you feeling good about where you guys are at?
I am. I'm excited. We have some new training products, a couple training shirts that I love that I'm using when I train. I'll probably we'll get some shots of that.
Definitely.
And then the warm-up hoodie. And I actually have to get I have mine coming in because we send it to our distributor, and I'm getting mine soon. But yeah, I really like it. We have a whole new fleet of hats that we're working on that are coming soon. And then, a couple graphic tees and a couple secret projects that'll be really cool. That'll be a little curveball that I think everyone will like. So
there's some great stuff coming.
Yeah, coming down the pipeline. And then, we'll just keep having these conversations with the pod. And
that's it.
I think too, just with the technology and kids, I think, my hope too is utilizing, I see it with Lily and her homework. So she's in first grade, and then she does this like math homework where you need a dice, but like you can download an app. So like that way she knows where to go. She does a math problem, then the parent goes, and then you do the math problem. Like it's really cool because she knows like how to use the phone and how to like press the dice and do stuff like that. I just hope the kids don't use it all and they don't stop learning. Like you got to use it. It's great to use the technology and make sure you're still learning.
No, totally. Like my math has gotten so bad. Like it's crazy. My math is terrible. It's just because I'm just so used to like not having to entertain that part of my brain.
Yeah.
They say as you age, like you should do like Sudoku and stuff like that just to keep that brain
Crossword puzzles.
Crossword puzzles, same deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us, we have like a very strict phone-free dinner plan,
I like that. We need to be better at that.
Yeah, it's hard because we try to eat with the kids' schedule, which is like 5:30, 6, and we're still like transitioning in that phase from work life to parent life. So there's still a lot of notifications going off, and that's like a really hard thing to break. But even Jack knows, like if I do grab my phone, he's like, nope, no phones at dinner,
The kids are holding us accountable, and I think like you said, they want our time, they want our attention. That's something that we have to be better at, just putting our phones up. I even when I was writing my notes, something I want to do is whether it's like 4 p.m. to when the kids go to bed, just put it on silent. I mean, you're not gonna miss anything. I mean, you feel like you're gonna miss something, but like you can easily, and I'm speaking as myself, like I can respond to that when they're asleep at 8 o'clock, and then I can put it down and spend that time with Tori. And a lot of times at night we like trying to find, we'll spend some time like cleaning up downstairs. There's toys everywhere. And we try to tell our kids, like we teach them to pick up, but sometimes there's just so many random little like toys, and Bodie will go and just dump a bucket of all these tiles out. And,
absolutely.
And then we just like watching a show and just hanging out, and then maybe do a little reading before bed and go to sleep and do it all again. But I do think too, like what are some ways that with your kids, you actually use technology, whether it's like we had talked about shows. I know I might even start because I had this one on here. So I love Mario Kart. So we have like the Nintendo Switch, and we don't do it a lot, like because I forget it's there. Yeah. Because we're always like running around. We love trying to get them outside in the alley, scooters and bikes. But there are some times at night when after dinner we have a little time and sun's going down, and like, hey, Lily Duke, you guys want to play Mario Kart? And they're always ecstatic, and we'll play on the same team, and then we'll give Bodie like a dead controller. So like he's sitting there like thinking he's racing, but it's like really cool to like do that with the kids because one, we're all on the same team. They're getting to race on Mario Kart. It's a great game. I have a lot of fun with them doing it. And then we'll do like 4 to 6 races, and time actually flies. I mean, that's a pretty good amount of time. And then it's bath time and ready to get ready for bed. But I think that's something that we like doing.
And that's really special for them.
Yeah.
That's something they'll always remember, like playing Mario Kart with dad.
Yeah.
Like that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We try to get mom into it too. She's not bad. No. I know Lily likes talking a little smack.
Yeah.
Sometimes with it. Lily, when she's beaten me only a couple times, and she likes to celebrate those victories, but I have a lot of fun.
I think that goes back to technology as a useful servant, but a terrible master. Like, can you use it intentionally, or is it going to own you? Yeah. It sounds to me like the way that you're using it, for the most part, is really with intention that builds connection, rather than you're in the corner just scrolling, and she's in the corner just scrolling, and your kids have their little face, their whatever, their tablet with the headphones on, which I think happens a lot. Yeah. And that's no shame, right? Yeah. Because like parenting is super hard. Yeah. And sometimes you need your breaks. Yeah. There's a funny meme that goes around where it's like, the studies show that parents whose kids use screen time get way more stuff done because like sometimes you do need a break to get stuff done. Yeah. But it's all about, can you do it with intention?
Yeah.
and use the technology, because like we were saying about ChatGPT, like it is, the opportunities there, if you use it in the right way, are huge.
Yeah.
You know, like even though this robot can essentially do our job, if we can then learn how to like control the robot and maybe build a team of robots, I mean, I don't know where this is going to go,
Yeah.
but you know, our client's not going to invest the time to learn how to use AI technologies for creative, most likely. They're busy problem solving what they need to do.
Yeah.
So how can we then adapt to the changing landscape?
Yeah.
And the kids are going to have to learn that too. I mean, kids are always a step ahead, especially with technology.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a crazy world we're stepping into.
No, they're resilient. And I think another thing, like just thinking back to like how we utilize it in a positive way, is like, you know, you have all these like cameras, right? So we have a camera in Bodie's room. So like when he takes a nap, we know when he gets up. We get an alert on our watch or our phone, lets us know if something's going on. You know, cameras around the house. I honestly love like the doorbell camera to know when things are at the door. We have Henry, who will bark every single time, and it's a ferocious bark. He's a big dog, so you don't want to mess with him. But there's so many ways that we can utilize it in a positive way. For me, where I want to get better is really, you know, structuring the, you know, like we talked about, like when is the best time, and making sure that we're off our devices. I'm off my device, especially with, you know, us doing the podcast and dad season. There's always something we could be doing, but I don't know if it was the 4-hour work week or, you know, I've listened to so many different things. Is just making sure your time's like you dial it in with blocks, right? Like, hey, this is going to be my email time. This is going to be my workout time. This is going to be boom, 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 boom. And then you know your blocks, and that's your structure.
Yeah.
And give yourself some grace when you fall away from it. But I think just the more you can plan those out to have, I always think of it as a game plan, right? Like when we went into each game, we had a strong game plan that we felt like we could execute. But the second we go out there, the game plan sort of changes a little bit because they're going to show a different blitz, a different coverage. Life's going to happen, and you just sort of adapt. You pivot, and you just keep going. And you know, if anyone gets anything out of this episode, and I know I did, is just it's time with your kids, and it's going to be a lot. I mean, our kids are, you know, 7, 4, and 2, so you know,
3 and 1.
Yeah, 3 and 1. So it's a fun season, and that's where I think too with the pod is just having great guests on to have these conversations from someone who's raised their kids, and their kids are older, and they have a lot more wisdom than we do.
Yep.
Throughout it, I'm always looking for those individuals that have raised their kids really well, and I always ask them like, all right, well, what was the biggest takeaway? Like, and a lot of times it's like just be around them,
Totally.
like do things, go on adventures. I was looking at something on Instagram that was actually positive. I probably sent it to the team earlier, and it was just talking about like taking adventures, like go fishing, like do something different, like get out. Do it several times a year and have one epic adventure a year that's challenging and everything. And I look forward to doing that with the kids, like going on. I went on a lot of road trips as a kid, and those were always fun. And that was back when you didn't have tablets and you didn't have iPads and whatever it may be to keep you interested. Like I remember my mom always had the trivia things, like, you know, the big card deck. And
or you look at license plates. You find something, you know.
Or you did what was it, the punch buggy? If you ever saw like bugs, you know, nudge someone in the arm. Those little activities are sort of far and few between now, but just implementing those back in our kids' life that we did as kids. And then also, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we have a big flight coming up. We're gonna utilize the tablets.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping that our youngest actually looks at the tablet and doesn't want something for a while. And just make sure he's watching something positive, and then have a little fun with them. Maybe I do like when they have fun games on the screens where they can do, like, you know, Duke actually loves playing little games and everything. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
No, it's like, it's super useful, especially for things like that. Like, could you imagine being a parent in the days before Google? Like, Jack scraped his chin. What do I need to do? You know, like, okay, clean it like this. I know how to clean a wound, but like, we use Google so often to just be like, what do we do in this scenario? Kid's 4 months old. What should you eat? What should you know, like having to go to books and look up all that, go to the library, check out books every time you needed to, like our parents did. That's wild, dude. Yeah. And we have a flight coming up this Friday, and you better believe we'll be downloading some Miss Rachel.
Yes.
Like, this is what it is, man. And I think it's great. We're figuring it out. And to your point about older parents, it seems like every single older parent parent who has kids who have grown says the same thing almost across the board, right? It goes so fast. Yeah. Cherish the moments. The days are long, but the years are short. So I think the moral is get off the phone and just be present. Like Mike Stith said, put your dang phone down.
Yeah. No, it's such good advice. And, we're on here saying that we fall short of it. I know I fall short of it. And I want to be better at it. And I'm not afraid to say that, we could easily be on here saying, oh, I got to do this perfect, do that. And then our wives will listen to the podcast and we'll come home and be like, you just lied. And it's like, that's not what we're trying to do. We're, one of the notes that we had on here is, how are we trying to support modern fathers? It's by being modern fathers and talking about the journey.
Right.
And then, we'll have guests on. We'll talk with them about different, like Mike Stith was an awesome guest.
Absolutely.
Like Josh Wells was an awesome. I mean, we've had already some really amazing guests, and we'll continue to have them on here just to see a different perspective. Mike is a veteran when it comes to coaching and being a father. So he has a lot of wisdom that he shared on that episode. That was really impactful. But I think for this is a great resource that we're trying to create through the Dad Season community to help modern fathers. We're going to have, Tori, Shelby, we'll have some moms on too, because we want their perspective.
Absolutely.
Their perspective is extremely important.
Yeah. And look, we're just on a journey to become as good, the best versions of ourselves as possible, right? Because better dads equals better families equals a better world, you know, and that's what we believe.
I love that.
And so, we're going to get there.
We're going to get there.
And we'll revisit this because this is going to be a topic that is going to be becoming more and more and more relevant, I think, throughout our lives.
Yeah, and I think the big thing too, when we have listeners, comment on different questions that you have as it pertains to this subject. And if there's like someone out there that you're like, man, I've read this book and it was really impactful, it aligns with this topic, send it to us. Yeah. Maybe that's a guest that aligns with what we're trying to do, that we reach out to them and have them on the pod and have a great conversation. We want to have that engaging community. A community is not just us, sharing our thoughts and our experiences. It's also like our listeners engaging, asking questions, making comments. We'll look at those, and then we can start building shows and episodes around that so it can reach you where you're at, something that you're interested in, and we are as well. But yeah, I think this was a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot more to this. This was just sort of a softer episode, because I think for me, when I leave here today, it's just what I'm going to try to work on and really implement is just putting my phone away at night. Just put it on, you set it in the corner, put it on Do Not Disturb, do the same thing with your watch, and just enjoy the time. It does, when you are more present and you lock into being present, it's more fruitful, and time actually does fly by. And
it's true.
It's almost like when your kids go to sleep, you're like that, the nights where we do that and we have that intentional time, it's a lot smoother. It's always going to be like some screaming or this, or, Bodie's running around hitting Duke and Lily, and he's just the 2-year-old. But you're going to be more present. You're going to take a lot more out of it. And when that time does fly by like a blink of an eye, you're going to look back and be like, I'm glad I did it. And that's where I'm trying to get at. That's where you're trying to get at, is we're a work in progress.
Yep. We share these stories. We share where we fall short in order to create space for others to be part of it too, to recognize that it's not about perfection. Yeah. So that's how we build this community. Yeah. And I do have a joke that is on theme. Yeah. I think. Rod, you ready?
I'm ready.
What does a computer call his father?
PC.
Data. Come on.
I know. I threw out. I just wanted to throw out something instead of saying I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be wrong so you could be right.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That was good.
All right. Well, that's all we got for today, folks.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you all for listening. Comment, ask questions, send in resources y'all like, and we'll keep building this Dad Season community.
That's it. All right.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff, brother.